Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. No matter whatever that happens to be, ask the Leyland brothers. Come on, me in and join in the fun, travel all over Australia.
This is a very special episode of Ask the Leyland Brothers. We're doing a three-part story on Queenstown, over here in the South Island of New Zealand. We're going to show the township itself and the history behind the town.
New Zealand is famous for its rivers, and near Queenstown here we have one, the Shotover River, which runs down south there into Queenstown. We're going to take a rubber raft trip down the Shotover and see what there is to see on such a journey.
Then we go to another river, the Kawara, which runs into the Shotover, and have a look at a very exciting sport. This is called helijet adventure. We're going to go on a helicopter and then a jet boat up this river. A letter from Sandra Cowling of Mount Waverley in Victoria brings us to the South Island of New Zealand. Sandra wrote and said, "We've been told there is some lovely scenery at Queenstown in the South Island of New Zealand. As we hope to go to New Zealand one day, I was wondering if we could show some of this wonderful scenery." Well, Sandra, Queenstown nestles on the shores of Lake Wakatipu, and it's dominated by the remarkable ranges. Visitors are often awestruck at the mountain scenery when they arrive in Queenstown, comparing it in grandeur with the Swiss Alps, an artist's and photographer's paradise. Queenstown is steeped in history, and a great way to explore the town centre is to take a ride in the hansom cab. The cab operates from the top of Queenstown's mall and takes you on a pleasant ride around the town. The area around Queenstown was first settled by Gilbert Rees, who in 1862 was granted a pastoral lease to run sheep. In 1863, gold was discovered on the nearby Shotover River. The town sprung up and boomed to a population of several thousand until the gold ran out. By 1900, only a couple of hundred residents remained. Many old buildings of the gold rush era still remain in Queenstown, adding a great character to the town. Lady of the Lake, the elegant 50-metre coal-burning steamship, the Earnslaw, named after Mount Earnslaw, the highest peak in the district. With Queenstown's mining a few kilometres out of town brings you to a toll gate that leads to a privately operated deer park. Deer Park Heights, as it is called, has a network of roads that climb the hilly terrain to nearly 900 metres above sea level and 550 metres above Lake Wakatipu. These descendants of wild Scottish stock are fine specimens of red deer. The deer park was established in 1966 and encompasses 89 hectares of rocky tussocky hillside. Being able to view these graceful animals at close quarters and to feed the tamer ones appeals to people of all ages. You can feed the deer on bread or the special food available from these automatic dispensers.
Not you, the other one. No.
Kerry, Sandy and Dawn get a real thrill out of feeding and patting the deer. Deer were more plentiful once and could often be seen grazing in quiet valleys, but it is a rare sight today because of the increased shooting of wild deer for overseas market demands.
I just took one. Oh! Drop it there! Drop it there.
Deer parks are very popular with visitors now because it is almost impossible to see a deer in the wild. There are about 100 red deer on the farm, as well as a selection of other varieties. The road leads to a high lookout that gives a commanding view of the lake. A freezing cold wind from the snow-capped peaks whistles around our ears. Lake Wakatipu is New Zealand's third largest lake, 77 kilometres long and about 5 kilometres wide. It was formed by glacial action and is 380 metres deep at its deepest part. Queenstown is about halfway along the lake's length and nestles snugly beneath Bob's Peak. We'll be back after this break with Queenstown's gondola and a river run. Most people who come to Queenstown take the gondola ride to Bob's Peak. In fact, about 400,000 people a year do this. We're going to do it for Adrian Mather of Queenstown in Tasmania. Adrian says he thinks it would be a breathtaking experience. This was the first aerial gondola cableway in the southern hemisphere. It transports passengers in enclosed bubble cars 776 metres to the summit of Bob's Peak. It certainly is a breathtaking ride, and a very popular one in Queenstown.
How did the people get to make these big?
The gondola ride is packed to capacity. Queenstown's residents can travel free on the gondola. This encourages the local people to use the 250-seat restaurant and to recommend it to visitors. A different panoramic view of beautiful Lake Wakatipu is one of the main rewards for taking the gondola to Bob's Peak. The weather here is very changeable. In a matter of moments it changes from sunshine to dark and moody, with heavy cloud from the south driving rain over the lake. Whatever the weather, it is still a spectacular view.
Boy, Daddy on there. Boy, Daddy on there too.
As well as scenic lakes and mountains, the Queenstown area has some of New Zealand's finest rivers, We're going to try some interesting ways at looking at them. A number of mighty rivers drain from the mountains into Lake Wakatipu. One of these is the gold-bearing Shotover River. We're going to take a Kontiki raft trip 8 kilometres down the Shotover River with Chris Rawlings. Chris Rawling and Mike Miles styled their raft trip after the popular American pastime of river running in large rubber inflatable. The Kontiki raft is advertised as safe for babes and grannies, so we're taking the lot. We have our 3 children, Dawn 2, Sandy 5, and Kerry 9. To cater for the granny part, we also have my parents along, Frankie and Ivan Leyland, who are both in their 60s.
Tree there was actually resting on the bank of the river. And the river's just cut away in on this side here. We used to go down on the far side there. But every time we get a flood, whether it's a big one or just a normal spring snowmelt, the river all over the place will completely change its course.
Although these lower reaches of the Shotover River are comparatively mild, the current must still be treated with respect. At 13 kilometres an hour, it's fast enough to sweep the strongest swimmer along. So to be on the safe side, the children wear life jackets. This was gold rush country in the 1860s. Prospectors from Australia and California and all over the world flocked here. The Shotover River proved to be the richest gold-bearing river in New Zealand, some say in the world. Recorded cases of claims yielding 58 kilograms in one day, or the 2 Maoris who gathered 11 kilograms in a single afternoon, are mind-boggling.
The broom. This time of the year it's really quite colourful, but unfortunately it's a noxious weed. It was introduced by the early settlers, and they used it at that time for making hedges and windbreaks. But it just thrives so well in New Zealand that it overtakes everything else, and it's been classed as noxious.
Chris explains points of interest as we drift slowly along.
As we go past this place here, you can see the silt actually pouring off now. This is going on continually. That's being blown down by wind. When it's dry, it just blows away. That's one reason why there is quite a lot of broom here. It's been encouraged to hold back erosion. But as you see there, it just does no good. The whole riverbank is undermined by floodwaters. The last flood we had was particularly big, and that cut away tons and tons of silt all the way down here. You can see hollows underneath the wall, and then areas where it slipped down. But the problem is it's a very shingly ground. You can see right ahead of us there how it's been built up. That's a good cross-section of what was at one time an old lake bed, just layer upon layer of silt. Unfortunately for the land, New Zealand is a very young country geologically, and so this erosion that we see now is quite natural. It'll take a few more million years before it becomes rounded off and more solid. That gorge up the back of there has just been gouged out or cut out by water running off the paddocks at the top. It goes back about half a mile, just getting shallower and shallower until it's up on the tops.
The soft banks of mica schist in various states of disintegration constantly invite the river to change its course. New hazards are formed The Shotover River is a tributary of the mighty Kawara River, which empties into Lake Wakatipu. We're going to take you on Queenstown's latest thrill trip. It's called the helijet adventure, a combination of helicopter and jet boat ride. We board a Jet Ranger helicopter at Queenstown's heliport, then fly along the Kawara River to the jet boat pickup point. Right, well, my name's Colin, and how are you? We're on board a Hamilton Jet 73 racing boat, and the cruising speed on this particular craft is going to be about 50 miles an hour, so it's going to flatten hell out of your headers, that's for sure. The idea of the combined helicopter jet boat adventure came about during a particularly rainy period earlier in the year. The jet boats were taking their passengers from the lake up into the Kawara River. Heavy rain filled the Shotover and Kawara to the brink. It was too dangerous to take passengers past the Shotover junction, where the two rivers joined in a raging torrent. Two river jet operators, Colin Robinson and Ross Marrett, joined forces and hired a helicopter to fly their passengers past the dangerous river junction. The helicopter ride, followed by the jet boat thrill, was so popular they were solidly booked out, and now it's a unique adventure experience that looks like a permanent package. New Zealand's South Island.
Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. No matter whatever that happens to be, ask the Leyland brothers. Come on, me in and join in the fun. Travel all over Australia. Brother.